Hello, it's Brian again with your local mortgage guy. Earlier in the prior video, we were talking about your credit and what makes up your credit, what makes your scores, how do you mess your scores up, and how do you build your scores up. In this video, we're not going to worry about your credit so much. It's going to be understood that you must have a score that's okay. And if you're smart, you've already talked to me or somebody like me to find out what's going on, what your scores are, and how to build them up. The next thing we're going to look at is your credit history. Now that's very important because what we want to know is how much do you make or what do you make? And then the next thing we want to know is what do you spend? Now those two things may seem obvious, but you'd be surprised how many folks you tell them your debt to income ratio is way out of whack before we add a new house. How's that possible? I make X number of dollars. Well, if you take a lot of stuff off on your taxes, you're doing yourself a disservice when you're trying to buy property or a house. Because one of the things we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, you make this amount of money and you spend this amount of money. And you want that ratio to be less than half, well less than half, depending on the type of loan it is. Figure 45% is a good ratio. If you make a good set of money, so let's say this much. Whatever your debt is, and I'm not talking about power bills and things like that unless you haven't paid those power bills, then those do matter. But what we do is we look and say, okay, here's what your debts are on credit cards. Your minimum monthly payments tally up, and you can add them up yourself because we're going to do that when we get your credit pull. But when you do is you take your minimum payments for your credit cards, whatever your installment loans are per month, also if you have any property, what those notes are per month, unless you're selling them, and then that's got to be noted. And yes, we want to know every piece of property you have, whether it be a house, whether it be just a piece of property in the middle of town that's worth $5, but hey, you still own it. That means you still have liability for it. Because if somebody stubs their toe out there, they could come get you. Happy thoughts. But anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to take all these debts and divide it by your income. And it's your monthly debts divided by your monthly income. And you want it to be less than 45%. And that is to include the new house and the property taxes and the homeowner's insurance. And if you have a loan that's greater than 80% loan to value, you're going to have some form of mortgage insurance. We'll get into mortgage insurance later. That's not a subject for today because that can go on for a little while. Now, when I was talking about what do you own, that's what I was talking about, all the various pieces of property. We had one gentleman who owned property in Illinois and he just failed to disclose it. Well, what he didn't realize is whenever we started pulling his credit, since he didn't have loans on it, it didn't show up. He was quite happy about that. His problem was the title company did go looking for any other property he had, and they found pieces of property in Illinois, which caused us new concerns down here. A lot of times people think, if I hide information, they'll never find it. And then it'll be too late by the time they do. Wrong. If you hide information from us, it's a bad thing. Tell us everything on the front end, and it's better for you. It's better for everyone involved because the deal is more likely to go through with more notification by you to us. Now, again, this all seems probably kind of convoluted to some folks, but it's actually very straightforward. We are going to look at what your credit scores are. We're going to look at what your payment history is. And with all that, we will figure out if you're warrantable, if you can have a loan done on you. Now, there are a lot of folks out there who have credit scores below 620, and we talked about that earlier. That's a bad thing, and we want to help you get your scores up. Now, if your score is in the 780s, a lot of things become more possible. But the only way we can know it is we have to pull your credit. And for those folks who love to say, trust me, my score is 820. As a credit lender, what you're always going to say is, that's awesome. And I can't wait to see it for myself because until I can see it for myself, it means nothing. We have to be able to prove all these things. So again, this is fairly straightforward. Take a few moments and just kind of figure out, what do I need to divulge to my mortgage lender? It's not that hard. Again, we're going to pull your credit. We're going to look at where you live. We're going to look at how much it costs you. We're going to look at all your other debts. That may seem like it's kind of invasive, but guess what? If you're trying to borrow $100,000, it's kind of important we know that you can pay for it. $100,000 may not seem much to you, but to the rest of us, that's a lot of money. And if you're trying to get a loan for $1 million, it doesn't matter. It's the same exact equations, and we look at it the same exact way. Everyone is equal. Anyway, Hope you're having a great day. Remember, look for the list of videos over here, that I've been putting out, and look down here for comments. And if you have a comment, feel free to put it down here or text me, email me, bang the bongos, whatever. My email address is localmortgageguy@gmail.com. There's also a web address, localmortgageguy.com. The local access number is 251-616-0005. That number again, 251-616-0005. You can text to that number or you can call that number. Email is localmortgageguy.com or localmortgageguy@gmail.com. Some days when you stand in front of this camera, your brain just turns into a little bit of sushi. It happens. Hope you're having a great day. Remember, look over here for more videos. Look forward to chatting with you folks soon. Thank you.